The next stop for Imsa comes this weekend at Road America. The iconic track is the longest on the Imsa calendar and will play host to round 8 on the season. Can Acura keep their hot summer rolling? How will BMW perform with their recent announcements? And there are a number of grid updates to cover. This is everything you need to know ahead of the Motul Sports Car Weekend at Road America. Road America is frequently recognized as one of the best tracks in America and is a fan and driver favorite. Road America, aka the National Park of Speed, is a 4-mile or 6.5-kilometer track featuring 14 turns and 171 feet of elevation change. The layout that we know Road America as today was created in 1955 by Cliff Tuftle. Racing has taken place in the Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin region since the 1940s, but it wasn't until a young fan lost their life at Watkins Glen that mandates came forward for the racing to be moved to dedicated facilities. The dedicated track opened in September of 1955 with their first SCCA race, and since then the configuration has remained virtually unchanged. In fact, the biggest significant change in recent memory was the track being repaved just a couple of years ago. But during that repave, there was extreme care taken to preserve the characteristics of the track, as there were over 7,000 grading points measured over the track to make sure that everything was within 1/10 of an inch to the previous track surface. Now, this repave has brought down the lap times, with the different class times ranging from the 1 minute and 48 seconds for the GTPs up to about the 2 minute and 2 second lap times for the GTDs. But the repave hasn't taken away some of the great passing opportunities around this track. Keep an eye on turns 1, turn 5, and turn 12, otherwise known as Canada Corner, but also keep an eye out for some attempts going into turn 6 and turn 8. The track also has a tendency to produce some full course yellows, with an average of just under 4 full course yellows per 2-hour and 40-minute race over the last 3 years. That means that strategy is definitely going to be a big factor in this weekend's race. As I said off the top, there's also some big storylines to watch for this weekend. Acura is looking to win their 3rd race in a row after winning in Detroit and Watkins Glen. Can anybody catch Porsche in the GTP Championship? This weekend's race is going to be crucial if anybody in the GTP class wants to make a run at Porsche in the championship. Then there's also BMW with the recent announcement that RLL and BMW will not be back together this year. What does that mean for the performance of BMW? They are going to be worth keeping a very close eye on this weekend. Now, I covered these storylines and more in a recent video, but if you want a bonus storyline to watch this weekend, consider subscribing to the S's newsletter. Before every race weekend, I send you the bonus thing to watch for, as well as everything you need to know heading into the race. You can subscribe to that by clicking the link in the description or by heading to offinthes's.com. It's not just the WeatherTech Championship in Wisconsin this weekend, there are plenty of support series there as well. The Michelin Pilot Challenge will be at the track with 38 entries, and man, that TCR Championship sure is one to keep an eye on. They are tied with just a few races to go in their season. Lamborghini Super Trofeos will be at the track as well, featuring a healthy 35-car grid. There'll be 29 Porsche Carrera Cup entries, and the Mustang Challenge is back with 19 entries between their two classes. Weather is always a huge talking point heading into the Road America race weekend, and this weekend's weather looks great, ranging from 75 degrees on Friday or 24 degrees Celsius up to 79 degrees Fahrenheit on Sunday or 26 degrees Celsius. It looks to be a very comfortable and sunny race weekend ahead of us. Things are not so sunny though when it comes to balance of performance. Starting off with the GTPs, we do see a few weight changes here. Notably, the BMW will be 15 kilograms lighter, the Cadillac 20 kilograms heavier, and the Porsche also sheds 9 kilograms. But what we really need to focus on here is the max power amount, especially that V2 power, or the power that can be used over 240 kilometers an hour. The biggest notable change here in GTP is Porsche, who gain 5.2%. What this means is they are going to have more power on the long straightaways than what they had last round out at Watkins Glen. We knew that the Porsches were struggling with straight line speed at Watkins Glen, so this should help significantly with that and help them be a lot more competitive. No other manufacturer sees a sizable difference here. Acura does lose 1%, but shouldn't affect them too much. There are also some notable differences in GTD. One car gains a significant amount of weight. That's the Corvette. It is only 15 kilograms, so it's not a ton of weight, but still notable. While the BMW loses 17 kilograms and Ferrari loses 26 kilograms of weight for this weekend. Looking at those max power numbers, and a few stand out once again. Aston Martin, BMW, Ferrari, and Ford all see noticeable decreases in this maximum power. However, we see some big decreases for a couple of manufacturers. Lamborghini's down 6% from where they were at CTMP, while Mercedes is down 7.2%. On these long straightaways, that is going to significantly impact their speed. Only 2 manufacturers actually gained maximum power here, and that's the Corvette that gains just under a 1% of power to actually be at 100% of their maximum power, and Lexus also gains 0.5% as well. Certainly some interesting numbers there that we're seeing play out in the BOP. Going to be very interesting to see how that kind of plays out in the practice qualifying and ultimately into the race on Sunday. On Sunday, though, 49 cars will take to the grid, which is an increase of 2 from last year. It will feature 11 GTP entries, an increase of 1, 14 LMP2s, an increase of 2 from last year, 10 GTD Pros is the same number that we saw here last year, and 14 GTD entries is 1 fewer than we saw last year. We also see a significant number of grid changes or just general entry notes heading into Road America. Tony's Kazimitz and Matthew Brabham will be behind the wheel of the number 61 LMP2 entry in Team Tonus's debut. Meanwhile, Luis Perez-Campang and Matias Perez-Campang will be at the wheel of the number 88 AF Corsa entry, who returns to the grid after they missed the round at CTMP. Connor De Filippi is subbing for the injured Tom Dillman in the Inter-Europol entry. Naveen Rao will be alongside Benjamin Peterson in the 52 PR1 Matheson Motorsports car, and Kaku Ota is behind the wheel of the 18 Era Motorsports entry alongside the returning Toby Lutka. In GTD, we see Kenton Cook staying in the 021 Ferrari. Meanwhile, the 32 Korthoff Competition Motors Mercedes is back on the grid after missing the round at CTMP, and they will be running an entry with drivers Mike Skeen and Daniel Morad in the car. Pretty solid lineup behind the wheel there. Last year, the number 6 Porsche Penske Motorsports 963 of Mathieu Jaminet and Nick Tandy completed 62 laps en route to the win. In LMP2 was the number 2 United Autosports entry of Ben Hanley and Ben Keating taking the win. In GTD Pro was the 35 Conquest Racing Ferrari of Gianmarco Alto and Daniel Serra who took that GTD Pro crown, while it was the number 96 Turner Motorsports BMW of Patrick Gallagher and Robbie Foley who took the win in GTD. As for keys to victory this weekend at Road America, I feel like I say it a lot, but I really do mean it in these cases, especially at a track like Road America, a narrow one. We talked about the full course yellows that are very common here. You need to keep the car intact for this race. Stay out of trouble. There's gonna be plenty of full course yellows. It is a narrow track in spots. There's gonna be lots of opportunities to make passes. You need to be patient. Keep the car in one piece. Don't pick up damage, because on those long straights it could really affect your speed. And if you can do that, then you should be in the hunt at the end of this one. Top speed is key, similar to how you have to keep the car in one piece here to make sure that you don't have that aero damage on the straights. You need to have that car trimmed out for maximum top speed here. There are 3 significant straightaways on this track, and if you don't have the car trimmed out and you're down that little bit of pace on the straightaways, it's going to be very, very difficult, not necessarily even to make passes, but also to defend the cars that are going to be charging behind you. Top speed here is key. And then there's pit strategy. This track, Road America, is such a long one. And what that means is when cars make pit stops, they don't necessarily lose a lap. So what that's going to do is it's going to invite some different pit strategies. We might see a wide variety of pit strategies play out in this race. If a team is going to find themselves in contention for a podium or a win at the end of this one, they are going to have had to have played their strategy perfectly, and honestly, probably caught a little bit of luck with those full course yellows that we'll see. As for my picks this weekend in GTP, give me the 10 Wayne Taylor Racing Cadillac. The Cadillac looks like it's coming alive. These high-speed tracks have historically been good for the Cadillac, and the way that they've come on in recent weeks, I think that this could be a good weekend for them. They looked really strong at Watkins Glen, had it not been for how that final hour played out with some of the pit strategy, or I guess the 60 with their incredible fuel save is really what won them that race. But regardless, give me the 10 Wayne Taylor Racing Cadillac here. In LMP2, the 99 AO Racing entry is, honestly, I think they might be emerging as the championship favorite at this point. They just get better and better each weekend out. PJ Hyatt just continues to improve as a driver, and you don't have to talk much about Dane Cameron to understand how good of a driver he is. I think that they put on another great showing in LMP2 this weekend. Give me the 99 AO Racing, aka Spike entry. In GTD Pro, give me the number 3 Corvette. I think that Corvette is going to be really strong here. I think that that's a strong car on these high-speed tracks. We saw that they were really strong at the Rolex back in January, another really high-speed track. They're right there in the running for the GTD Pro Championship along with Porsche. I also think Porsche is going to be pretty strong this weekend, but if I had to pick, give me the 3 Corvette to take the win in GTD Pro. And then in GTD, I mentioned a minute ago that's a really solid lineup that Korthoff has there with Morad and Mike Skeen. Give me the 32 Korthoff Competition Mercedes. I think that they're going to have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder heading into this weekend with everything that's been flying around in the news since Watkins Glen. They have a really strong driver lineup there, and Mercedes has historically been a strong car here at Road America. Even though the BOP might not be completely in their favor, still, give me the 32 Mercedes to get the job done in GTD. Let's turn our attention to the point standings now, and as always, they are presented by P1 Web Development. If you're a race driver, team, chassis builder, or engine shop who takes racing seriously, but your online presence is an afterthought, then you're leaving money on the table. P1 builds sites that gets you noticed, get you sponsors, and get your business taken seriously. You can check out the new P1 website at p1webdevelopment.com. In GTP, it's the number 6 Porsche Penske Motorsports 963 that leads the way with 2,028 points. That is a 12-point lead over the sister number 7 Porsche. The 93 Meyershank Racing Acura is in third, 262 points back, with the 24 BMW and the 10 Cadillac rounding out your top 5. In LMP2, it's number 22 United Autosports entry leading the way with 1,375 points. That's a 78-point advantage over the 99 AO Racing entry. The 74 Riley, 43 Inter Europol, and 04 CrowdStrike Racing entries round out the top 5. In GTD Pro, it's the number 3 Corvette Racing by Pratt Miller Motorsports Corvette leading the way with 1,942 points. They have a 39-point advantage over the 77 AO Racing Porsche and a 53-point advantage over the 81 Dragon Speed Ferrari. The 48 BMW and the 64 Ford Mustang round out the top 5. In GTD, it's the 57 Windward Racing Mercedes that leads the way with 1,902 points. That's a 93-point advantage over the number 12 Vassar Sullivan Lexus. The number 27 Heart of Racing Aston Martin's 124 points back. The 120 Wright Motorsports Porsche sits 306 points back. And the 96 Turner Motorsports BMW is 318 points back. As I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of Imsa Support Series action on the grid this weekend, and it's a packed schedule at Road America. Things get underway on Saturday morning at 8:55 p.m. Eastern Time with the Mustang Challenge, and you can catch that on Peacock, Imsa TV, or Imsa's YouTube. At 11:50 a.m. is race 1 for the Porsche Carrera Cup, and that can be found on Imsa TV, Peacock, or Imsa's YouTube channel. Following that up is race 1 for the Lamborghini Super Trofeos on Imsa TV, YouTube, as well as Peacock. At 3 p.m. Eastern Time is the Michelin Pilot Challenge Road America 120. You can catch that race on Imsa TV, Peacock, and Imsa's YouTube channel. The day is finished up with Imsa WeatherTech Sports Car Championship qualifying at 5:35 p.m. Eastern Time, and if you wanted to guess the channels, you probably guessed right. It's on Imsa TV, Peacock, and Imsa's YouTube channel. Turning the calendar over to Sunday, and it starts off at 9:15 a.m. with the Mustang Challenge for race 2 of their weekend. You can find that on all of the regular spots, Imsa TV, Imsa's YouTube channel, and Peacock. That's followed up by race 2 for the Lamborghini Super Trofeos on, again, the regular channels at 10:20 a.m. Eastern Time. And then it's the Porsche Carrera Cup that goes at 11:30 a.m. for their final race of the weekend on Peacock, Imsa TV, and Imsa's YouTube. Finally, the race weekend is wrapped up with the WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, and their race gets underway at 2 o'clock Eastern Time. You can find that race on Imsa TV, Peacock, and Imsa's YouTube channel. That's everything that you need to know for this weekend's race at Road America. Let me know who you think is going to win the race this weekend down in the comments. And check out this video for all of the big storylines to follow heading into this weekend's race. Huge shout out to all of the channel supporters. If you too want to support the show, you can head to patreon.com/offintheesses or click that join button below. Once again though, thanks for tuning in. I hope everyone has a great race weekend. It doesn't go off in the S's.